Do you really need 8 glasses of water a day? Somewhere right now, someone is staring at a half-empty water bottle, feeling guilty. Not because they're actually thirsty, not because their body is sending any kind of distress signal, but because a number has been living rent-free in their head since childhood. 8 glasses, 64 ounces, 2 litres, a quota to hit before midnight, or else. But here's the strange part. No major health organisation has ever officially recommended exactly 8 glasses of water a day. Not the World Health Organization, not the National Academy of Medicine, nobody. So where did this number come from? And more importantly, is your body actually running on a fixed daily quota, or is something far more adaptive going on inside you? To understand this, we have to go back to 1945 to a report from the US Food and Nutrition Board. Buried in that document was a recommendation. Adults should consume about 2.5 litres of water per day. That part checks out. The problem is what came directly after it, a sentence that got quietly dropped every time this advice was repeated. The report noted that most of this water is already contained in the food we eat. Somewhere between 1945 and today, that second sentence disappeared. What remained was just a number, stripped of its context, and eventually rounded into a catchy phrase: 8 glasses a day. It spread through diet books, magazine covers, and eventually wellness culture, not because it was proven, but because it was simple, memorable, and sounded like responsible advice. So if the number itself is shaky, what does your body actually need? To answer that, we have to look at what water is doing inside you in the first place. Your body isn't a bucket that empties at a fixed rate. It's closer to a self-regulating reservoir with its own built-in alarm system. At the center of that system is a part of your brain called the hypothalamus. It constantly monitors the concentration of your blood, essentially checking how much water is present relative to sodium and other particles. When that concentration shifts even slightly, the hypothalamus does 2 things. It triggers the sensation of thirst, and it signals your kidneys to either conserve water or release more of it through urine. This is why thirst isn't a design flaw. It's a precision instrument. Long before you're dangerously low on fluid, your brain has already started nudging you to drink, which raises a strange question. If your body already has a built-in system that tells you exactly when to drink, why do so many people still believe they need to track ounces on an app? Where your water actually comes from. Part of the answer is that most people underestimate how much water they're already consuming without a glass in sight. Fruits and vegetables can be over 90% water by weight. A single cucumber, an orange, a bowl of soup. These aren't just food, they're hydration. Coffee and tea, despite their reputation, contribute to your fluid intake too. The old idea that caffeine dehydrates you has been directly tested, and the diuretic effect turns out to be mild and temporary, easily offset by the liquid in the drink itself. When researchers have added up total water intake from food and beverages combined, most people following normal eating patterns land remarkably close to adequate hydration without ever consciously trying. When the old advice was actually tested, in the early 2000s, a physiologist named Dr. Heinz Veltin decided to actually investigate where the 8 glasses claim came from. He searched the scientific literature for the original source. He couldn't find one. What he did find was a body of research suggesting that healthy adults regulate their fluid intake quite well on their own, largely guided by thirst, and that there was no solid evidence supporting a universal fixed quota. His findings, published in a physiology journal, became one of the most cited debunkings of the myth, not because drinking water is bad, but because the specific number had never been backed by the science it was attributed to. So if there's no universal number, does that mean hydration doesn't matter at all? Not quite. It means the target isn't the same for everyone, which is exactly where most people get it wrong. What actually changes your needs? Your real hydration needs shift based on a handful of specific factors. Body size matters. A larger body has more tissue that requires water to function. Activity level matters. Sweat is a direct water loss that needs replacing. Climate matters. Heat and humidity increase fluid loss, even without exercise. And certain conditions, like pregnancy or illness involving fever or vomiting, increase requirements significantly. This is why a sedentary office worker in a cool climate and a construction worker in summer heat can have wildly different water needs, despite both being told the same 8 glasses rule their entire lives. A simple personal calculation. So instead of a fixed number, here's a more useful way to think about it. One commonly used estimate is to take your body weight in pounds and divide it by 2. That gives you a rough baseline in ounces for a sedentary day. A 160-pound person would land around 80 ounces, factoring in both food and drink. Then adjust from there. Add roughly 12 ounces for every 30 minutes of exercise. Add more on hot or humid days. And rely on 2 simple built-in checks your body already gives you: thirst and the colour of your urine. Pale yellow generally signals good hydration. Dark yellow is a signal to drink more. This isn't precise lab science, but it's far more responsive than any fixed daily quota could ever be. The 8 glasses rule wasn't malicious. It was a well-meaning piece of advice that lost its context somewhere along the way and calcified into a myth repeated so often it started to sound like fact. Your body isn't waiting for you to hit a number. It's already running a far more sophisticated system than that. One that's been fine-tuning your hydration since long before wellness culture had an opinion about it. So today, try this instead. Stop counting glasses, check the colour, listen to the thirst, and adjust for your activity and the weather. That's not just simpler, it's actually closer to what the science supports. If this changed how you think about something you assumed was settled science, you might be surprised how many other rules you've been following are built on the same kind of myth. That's exactly what we're digging into next.